after our last episode, that was a little more of a thinker. You know what I mean? But I think that's the beauty of Star Trek, you know? To tell all kinds of a great range of stories. We're very excited to talk with you about the episode and our production in general. So let me welcome, we have a lot of our people here and we're very excited to have them. So I'm gonna use these cards so I don't forget anybody. Please welcome to the stage our beloved Lieutenant Uhura, Miss Kim Stinger. You can't call him Ensign Chekhov anymore because he's Lieutenant Chekhov, Wyatt Lenhart. You know, if Lieutenant Uhura can't be at the communications station, you gotta have another hottie there, right? You gotta have a beautiful woman. Please give it up for Kat Roberts.
Yeah, I do like those parents. Those are awesome.
One of my dearest friends who's been with us since the very beginning. She's a co-producer on this series and our makeup supervisor, Miss Lisa Hansen. I don't know this Our creative consultant on the series, one of our dearest friends, a very, very great part of our STC family, and Dr. McCoy in our first 2 episodes, Mr. Larry Nemechek. And yes, you know him and you love him. Almost as much as I do.
Yes, we do.
Mr. Spock, Todd Havercorn.
Where's mine?
Oh yeah. So we've got a microphone right here. And is there one on that side or is it here? We would love to talk with you guys about the episode and the series in general. So if you have any questions, you can just step right up to this microphone here. This was our 7th. We are very, very excited about what we've got in the pipeline. And so thank you guys for being here so much. Yes. Oh, and don't forget. Would you, is our sound man back there, our sound master? Would you, Kyle, where's Kyle? Kyle, would you run back in the corner and grab one of the posters? I'm going to show you, we have the, give it up for Kyle! You guys, before I forget too, we've got some other members of our group here. Kyle, that's Kyle Warner, and his lovely sister Haley right here in the front row. They have been part of our PA team since the very beginning. And this guy, okay, did you love the courtroom set?
Yeah.
How many of you remember Court Martial from the original series? This gentleman in the front row almost single-handedly built that set, Mr. John Roberts. Give it up.
Right on!
And you guys met Randy at the beginning, who's the creative director here for Salt Lake. Did you see that beautiful Vulcan lamp that Spock was meditating with? Mm-hmm. Randy built that and made that person. He's supplied many, many pieces for our series. Give it up for him. We promised some presents. So the first thing, as long as they last, we have these exclusive posters of this episode, and we will have them at the back door. If you'd like to have one, they're free. So yes,
I need
Claire Kramer. Did you recognize Claire from Buffy? She was amazing. Aaron Gray, Bo Billingsley. What a wonderful group of people we had here. And
I believe that poster says World Premiere Salt Lake Comic Con.
it does. It even says Salt Lake Comic Con. It was exclusive to this event. Also, I have with me 5 Blu-rays of the first 3 episodes.
And January December.
And we have 4 DVDs, and we're going to be asking some questions, and if maybe we like something that you asked us, or anything, any reason whatsoever, we're going to give these away. Not sell them, because we don't do that. So, yes, question.
Yeah, I would like you to speak to the new CBS rules. When I heard about them over the podcast I listened to, I thought this is the end of Star Trek Continues too, but here we are. How long can this continue? How can it continue? And I just want to say I thank you for Star Trek Continues. I like all of Star Trek, everyone, but none has touched me and none has made me feel like the original series like yours has. I thank you for that.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Let me just say this real quickly, because I want this panel to be a very uplifting and and positive panel. So let me just address this as quickly as I can. I am not speaking in an official capacity when I say what I'm about to say. I don't have any specific knowledge or insight, but this is how I feel right now. I'm very optimistic that we will be able to finish what we started. Now, it was never our intention to make Star Trek Continues forever. We always had an end game in mind. You know what I mean by that? We wanted to make one more season of Star Trek, and we wanted to leave all of the characters where the motion picture picked them up. We wanted to fill that ever so lonely gap between the cancellation of the original series and the motion picture. And if you think about it, guys, she gets so excited. If you think about this, when we met the characters again in the motion picture, Captain Kirk had taken a desk job. Now, what in God's name would make Captain Kirk walk away from his ship as much as he loved the Enterprise? I'll bet that's a hell of a story, right? I'll go you one better. The Enterprise was being refit and upgraded and rebuilt. Did something happen to the Enterprise? Maybe. Good story. Spock walked away from the service and went back to Vulcan to pursue the purging of all remaining emotion. Now, what emotional experience would have made Spock to decide to do that? Hell of a story. McCoy left the service altogether. Went off and grew a beard, drank mint juleps all day. Why? So our goal all along was to finish the series. It was not to keep going ad infinitum. And the powers that be know that. They have always known that. And they respect that. And they respect the way we treat their series. They respect the reverence that we pay to their license. They respect the integrity with which we have operated our production. You guys, we have made 7 full-length episodes with full cast, full crew, full set. And they respect that integrity. They know why we do it, and they appreciate the way we do it. So I'm optimistic. Oh, by the way, did you guys know that we are an official 501c3 charitable organization? I don't know if you know anything about the law, but that's not easy to get. It's not easy to get a nonprofit charitable status. But we spent almost a year. All of our financials are publicly available online. They're posted on our website for everybody to see. Every penny is accounted for. And we are, because we're the charitable organization, because we have an end goal in mind, because we've already raised the money before, we're not going to be launching any more crowdfunders, you guys. And I promised the powers that be that we would not, and we won't. And because we have in the pipeline already, the scripts are written, you guys. The stories are written.
Yes!
And we are chomping at the bit. We are working at lights, I should say warp 10. What are you doing? I know, I caught myself before I said light speed. We are working at warp 10 to get these episodes shot and completed as quickly as we can, as we promised the powers that be that we would. And we have always kept our promises. So that's what I'm going to say about that. I am optimistic, and I'm going to ask you guys to be optimistic with me. And I'll tell you why, because you know what? Contrary to what some loud voices may want to tell you, CBS loves the fans. CBS has been a friend to fan productions for over a decade. They have allowed dozens of fan productions to exist. It was only when somebody crossed the line, badly crossed the line, that they were forced to protect their property.
Right.
And we don't blame them for that. But I know that they are a friend of the fans, and they love what we are doing for Star Trek, and they love that you love it. So, will you remain optimistic with me? Will you
The successful run that the original Star Trek had, how did you guys be able to fill the shoes? How did you guys prepare to fill the shoes of the original cast?
Todd, tell them how you fill the shoes of Leonard Nimoy.
Well, the thing is that
You keep it 10.5, right?
that's right. It's funny when we got the original boots made, because we went to one of the places that made the boots for the original series. The woman on the piece of paper, it's in this little house, and if you drive past it, you're gonna miss it. And it's in this little house. They've been making these legendary boots for Adam West, Wonder Woman, all this kind of stuff. And on it she wrote, "Okay, I make your boots for Star Trek." And so it's TRACK on the sheet. But as far as that goes, it's not about, someone explained this to me. It's kind of like what Mark Hamill said in his panel yesterday. There have been many Jokers, but there's Jokers for different seasons. There's Mark Hamill's Joker, who we all love.
Yes.
There's Heath Ledger's Joker, who we all respect and love, and then there's Jack Nicholson's Joker at a different time in his life. So it's all, and they all coexist in this one universe, and they're all equally respected. My Spock, I hope, is welcomed into your quarters. Like Leonard and like Quinto's, but by no means am I trying to be the substitute for Nimoy, and I don't try to play him like that. I'm not trying to play Spock as Nimoy portraying a Vulcan. So me doing a Nimoy doing a Vulcan. It's me trying to take the attributes of this character that he established the baseline for and taking that and then taking it off into my own little, because you can see, I hope, my goal is that you see where there are similarities, but I'm also trying to make it my own, based on these great scripts that we have and the leeway that I have to do that. So I'm not trying to replace him. I don't want to. I loved him. I wish he could be my grandpa. I wish he could be my grandpa. And then on my dad's side of the family, it would be Bill Chapman. But yeah, so I'm just trying to do it justice.
Kim, Wyatt, tell us about filling the shoes of Nichelle Nichols and Walter Kenny.
Wow. Well, when I first came onto Star Trek Continues and auditioned for the part of Chekhov, it was kind of like, I felt like I was living in a dream, right? Because the Chekhov has always been my favorite character in the show. And my father, sitting in the second row right there, knows that we watched Star Trek, the original series, from when I was really little. And I always loved Chekhov because he was the youngest person on the show, so he was kind of the kid that I could relate with. And kind of trying to emulate that with the accent, and again, not trying to play, go around to the actor, to the character, but to just play the character how he was in the original series, but in my own way. There's not a whole lot to work with. In the original, the episodes, there's not a whole lot of screen time. And so I tried to take these portions as we were doing new episodes, and I always tried to find a parallel to something that Chekhov did earlier in the show, whether it was his posture or kind of the timbre and the pacing of how he speaks, and movement. So, I hope that you like it. I hope that you like this episode. It was a lot of Chekhov.
Congratulations, Wyatt.
Finally, Lieutenant.
Yes.
Kimmy?
Let's face it, there is no Phil and Michelle Nichols.
fill those shoes, but there were some things that, I mean, Wyatt was saying, we're seeing glimpses of these characters that we never had the chance to see. And so being able to tap into a deeper level of her, of Uhura, and seeing different sides of her, it's an honor to be able to kind of take the blueprint and try and go new places and different places and see how that fits with what Michelle has already so graciously established. So hopefully that shines through.
Did you guys love that moment with Scotty and Uhura when they were facing that they were going to die, and I was there standing right behind the wall as we were shooting that scene with Chris and Uhura, and I was yelling at Chris doing it. I was screaming because I wanted something from him dramatically. You remember that? Yeah. I was yelling, look into her eyes. You caused her death. You brought that beautiful woman over here, and she's going to die. She's never going to experience life because of you. And that's what we got from Chris when he's like, I'm sorry. As far as playing Captain Kirk, I wanted people to feel like they're seeing a continuation of the series. It was not my intention to reinvent the character. I believe the character is very well invented.
Yes.
He doesn't need to be reinvented. He needs to be continued. Like more of it, we would like more. So I just wanted there to be enough of Bill Shatner in it so that the audience immediately accepts it as this character that they remember. I didn't want to mock him or spoof him or any kind of a parody, but I wanted there to be enough of the mannerisms and the cadence and the way you carry yourself, etc., for people to just accept that you're watching that show with that cast and that, and it can continue. Thank you for the question. Thank you so much. Hey there. Hey!
Hi.
Good to see you, man.
Pull the hat. Wherever I go, you're just there.
He says, wherever I go, there you are, baby.
So I was wondering, with the episodes, with all the concepts and stuff you do in them, like the plots, I always look at them and think, oh, that is totally something the original directors would do. And, I find them really original and interesting, and I'm just wondering, how do you get these ideas, and how are you able to make it so they are like the original show?
You know what? I love you. Come up here and get a Blu-ray. He's traded in for a DVD.
There you go. That is old school.
That means there's
TOS.
You know what, you guys? We've received literally hundreds of scripts, hundreds of story ideas, and yet when you really set the bar to a level of it really needs to have a theme. What's the point of the story? What's the moral question, or the ethical pull, or the social question or issue to be addressed? And as soon as you set the bar that high, guess what? All those hundreds of scripts just fall short. They're about fighting the Klingons. Sorry, that's a little shallow for us. We want to do Star Trek the way the original series dealt with weighty issues. Star Trek was about much more than beaming down. You know what I mean? Or flipping open communicators, or fighting the Klingons. It was about the human condition. Why I think we're still talking about it 50 years later. Because it's just as relevant today as it was then. Look at this story. A woman being put in charge. Now, that's something a lot of people wonder why they never took on back in the day, because it's an issue ripe for Star Trek, right? I mean, it's a classic Star Trek issue. But rather than answer the question, we let you answer the question. We pose both sides, right? And then we blow up the ship. So you're left to decide. We have one person on one side, one person on the other side, and you are left to decide. We didn't come down on either side of it. And that's for the audience. It makes you think. It's more of a thinking person's show. So it's difficult, by the way. As soon as you set the bar that high, it's really hard to come up with those kind of stories. They're really rare. And when we do this episode, you guys, when you get a chance to meet James Kerwin, James came on board, pardon the pun, with our series for episode 3, Fairest of Them All, the Mirror episode. He came on board and directed that episode, and he has become like family and a co-producer. And he wrote this story, and he and I hammered the script together, and he directed the episode and did a masterful job with this episode. So if you see him at a convention or online, please let him know that you enjoyed it, okay?
Can I say something? When you say you've got hundreds of, the best testament to the power and the appeal and the attraction and the love that Star Trek Continues has brought is the fact that you've had hundreds and hundreds. You're in the same boat that Michael Piller and Rick Berman, and Gene Cook, all those people that had when they opened up the door and let the scripts come in from fans and people without an agent. And when you started telling me about all the pitches you were getting, I'm like, well, there you go. That's another wonderful show of support. And the fact that you're dealing with the same issues. And guys, we gotta have, this is great. We've got to have more than Playing Cleveland.
Yeah.
It's just that's a wonderful testament to the power that this series has arisen in people. It made them want to come in and jump in, and made the quality of people that did get involved, that finally wound up making it great.
Yes. We've got a very famous sci-fi writer who's written our series finale. I'm not going to tell you who. But I mean, we're talking about high caliber people. High caliber people. Yes.
Hi. First off, just to say a few things. This was my introduction to Star Trek Continues, and the level of authenticity that you guys have brought to it, like the cinematography, the lighting, the sets, just amazing. I really felt like I was watching this. Some people may be lynching me, Vic. I really think that you out-Kirk Shatner.
What do you mean? Sorry. You can pay me no higher compliment because I love Bill Shatner. I started acting when I was 12 and 13. I started auditioning for school plays because I loved Star Trek. And so I owe a lot of the things I do professionally to Star Trek. Go ahead.
And I've loved your work ever since I discovered Edward Elric.
Oh.
So, thank you.
Thank you. Come get yourself a Blu-ray. Blu-ray with a King. You got it. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you so much. My question.
My question was.
I have to gush a little. But my question, of course, is with the shadow of the coming election hanging over us, it's very easy to see parallels in this situation.
Absolutely.
Of Clinton.
As we intended. Quite honestly.
And that was my question, is whether that was intended.
Absolutely. James Kerwin and I talked about that. And I think you could boil it down, and we're not taking any sides. Did we take any sides?
No.
We kind of laid it out there. We're not taking any sides. We want you to decide what you think. But what I think was one of the most essential lines of dialogue in this episode was when Kirk said, "For the record, I am convinced that it's time for a woman to captain a Starship-class vessel. But as for Commander Garrett, I'm not certain she is that woman." So while it is time, you see what I'm saying? While it is time, it's not just anybody, right? It needs to be the right person. And we all agree. That's just common sense.
I like that thinking, Captain Kirk. I think you're onto something tremendous.
Please, not how. So we just wanted to pose the question. And it's ironic, isn't it, that we wanted to do this story, and as timing would have it,
It's being released in September before a very historic election. So, yes, no accident. No accident at all. Thank you, brother. Thank you. I have to interrupt just briefly. I have to get out to go. I actually have to get on a plane and head to another thing. But I want to say, I'm sorry guys, if I flew a plane, this is why I need to learn how to fly. I want to say this is my very first Salt Lake Comic Con. Yeah, you're right, man. Thank you guys so much for having me.
We love you, Todd!
We love you, Todd! Bye, Todd!
We love you, Todd!
He's leaving on a plane, and I'm leaving on one just a few hours later to go to the same place he's going to. So
No!
Yes. Hi.
This was just an amazing episode. Star Trek Continues was actually the one that got me into Star Trek, so props to you.
See, the powers that be need to hear that story.
Yes. It's my new favorite Star Trek Continues episode, which was really hard to beat your last one that you premiered last year, which was
The one that we premiered here?
Yeah, One Divided.
Divided We Stand.
Divided We Stand. So anyone who knows basically any of your past, Vic, knows that you were like this little kid running around with your toy phasers. Do you still feel like that, or do you feel more professional, or how does it
I want this answer.
Dang, I can't give a Blu-ray away to save my life.
I'll take one! Right here!
Maybe I spoke too soon. You know what? What was your name, sweetheart? Oh, you go ahead and just say it. I can
Hannah?
Hannah?
Yeah.
Hannah, can I tell you something? I never cease to be giddy at what we're getting to do. I'll never forget the first day that we shot on Pilgrim of Eternity, and Chris Doohan and I were in the turbo lift, waiting to go onto the bridge, waiting to walk onto the bridge, that very first shot. The doors were closed in front of my face, and I'm waiting for them to open, and there's the bridge. And for a moment, I thought to myself, my whole life, I have fantasized about doing this, and now, at this moment, I'm standing on a perfect set, in a perfect uniform, with Jimmy Doohan's son over my right shoulder, and we're going to walk onto this set. And I gotta tell you something,